Hey everybody,
Hey guys.
welcome to our February edition of Adapt Chat. Happy you're here with us. This one's a little weird and different. I wanted to kind of share some things with everybody. There's about 11 people at my house right now. There is a chance we could lose internet at any time. We could lose power. There's just a ton going on. Solar install happening. A lot of electrical stuff. Our brand new Adapt Energy Automation package is physically being put in to my house, which we'll get into here in a bit, and that'll kind of give us a segue into the rest of what we're going to talk about. One other thing I wanted to share with you guys, because of this, like I said, if something happens, if for some reason we lose you, we're not going to be able to get it back up and running. We're going to have to just say we're sorry ahead of time. With that said, Megan, why don't you get us started on some of the things that we typically go through with our Adapt dealers.
All right, guys. So as you all know, we started development on Adapt in 2012. Our first project was actually Troy's house in October of 2014. We launched Adapt at CEDIA 2015. We currently have 116 Adapt dealers, over 900 deployments throughout the United States, Canada, and Trinidad. And
Australia.
Oh, and Australia.
Australia.
Yeah.
We have a dealer in Australia, which is kind of exciting. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. That is
kind
exciting. Thanks for adding that in there. 5 master level programmers on staff that are here, and 10 people in total that are here to help you. So with that being said, we're going to get into the exciting, hot off the press, brand new Adapt Energy Automation package.
Yeah, so we touched on this a little bit in December with you guys, and the original intent for anybody who's kind of tracking what we're doing was to be able to control Eaton intelligent breakers, and that is still happening. We're still working with Eaton. One of the things that we recognized through our learning process is that we have to be able to control these breakers extremely quickly. I mean, like when a grid loss happens, these breakers got to get shut off almost immediately. And with the Eaton stuff, we were having to send commands to the cloud, have the commands come back down to breakers, and that was kind of causing us a little bit of grief. So we started looking at another option, and came across some breakers that Schneider makes, and that has now turned into a whole energy automation package that we have built, engineered. It's a locked down thing that controls up to 16 Eaton intelligent breakers. I'm going to kind of walk you guys through a little bit of that in more detail later on. But the basics are it'll control 16 breakers, easy web utility setup. It's going to provide you guys, this is really cool for you guys, we're going to provide you guys direct control of the battery, battery information. You will have breaker control as well. And most importantly, you're going to have events and things like that are coming from the battery to let you know when there's a grid loss or when the time of use window starts, like the peak time starts. That way you guys can start doing some really cool things on the home automation side with respect to lights and climate and pool pumps and these types of things to maybe help offset some energy and whatnot. There will be a new module that you guys will have that you can use to connect directly to the Adapt Energy Automation package to make all that stuff happen. And you'll be able to buy this package directly from us. Which again, I'll touch on a little bit more. If you're interested in this though, we want to set up a time with you to kind of take a real deep dive. There's a lot to this. It's not if there's one thing I've learned is that I thought I knew about energy stuff because we're like super technical people and we know a lot of things and whatever. Reality was there was a lot I didn't know about energy and how it works and solar and storage and all these things. We'd love to help you guys understand more about that. So please feel free to reach out. Obviously, Megan's a great resource to bounce things off of and definitely get things done. So we want to help you guys understand more about that.
If you guys have questions or anything, please feel free to utilize the questions box.
Absolutely, please do. One last thing about the energy automation stuff. It is ready. You guys can purchase it today. And again, we'll go into some more detail on that in a bit. But also, Sonnen has a couple of trainings and certifications coming up in the Austin and Houston area, February 12th and 13th. And on their website, they've got a full training kind of list. They're all over the place, actually. There's, I think, like 15 or something like that that they're doing. So if you're interested in the Adapt Energy Automation stuff, it's kind of cool because in their training, they are providing training on the Adapt Energy Automation package. So not only are you going to be getting certification training with, on the Sonnen battery and storage, you're also going to be able to learn a lot more about what we're doing with the Adapt Energy Automation package, and obviously what we're doing with Sonnen as well. So yeah, let's talk some more HTML5 or CH5. We are still progressing with it. I had a meeting with the team yesterday, in fact, and we went through some of this. It's getting a little interesting. For those of you who are kind of tracking this heavily, it's been available on Labs. It's on, obviously with Labs, there's no real support. You definitely shouldn't use it for any production type stuff, but it gives you a sense of kind of what's going on and what's out there. They are saying that there will be an official release in spring. Now, I put so far in there because when I talk to my guys about it, they feel like it's going to be a little longer than that before it's kind of ready for prime time. What it is, though, in its simple form, is just what you might expect. It's HTML5. You've got to know HTML5 in order to do anything with it. There won't be any tools available in spring, to my knowledge, that are going to make it really easy and kind of VT Pro-E-esque type of a thing. Even drawing a button is going to be, a challenge for some. And I'll be straight, probably for me as well. I'm not an HTML5 programmer. Now, we hope to augment what is going to become available with some things, but like I've been saying, and heed the warning, really pay attention to CSS style sheets. That's kind of, an area where you can begin the process, if you will, of learning HTML5, and at the very least put yourself in a position where you could make some general changes to color, font, those types of things. So again, learn the basics, because that will help. You're also starting to see some things about Ping changing to Crestron Home. And I think their goal there is to, obviously differentiate a little bit, about OS3. But there's the user interface stuff that they're doing there that's going to be a little while too. We're seeing a lot of pretty pictures, and we're seeing a lot of things from marketing that are exciting to look at, but we know for a fact that none of the backbone to that is in place. So just be mindful. Ask your rep. When you see things in marketing and in print, ask your rep. So when is this going to be available? And see what you get from them. And you guys also know people outside of just your rep, and reach out, ask them. I can't share much. I'm like I have on my slide here, and I got an NDA. I got to be a little careful, but get the information that you can from Crestron about it. They are sharing most of what they can, and we'll see how things kind of progress there.
To kind of backtrack on the CH5, we have some new people on the webinar today. Do you want to kind of explain our involvement as far as being one of 3 in the world?
Yeah. So when this started early on, I mean, Crestron's been working on this for what, a year and a half or almost 2 years, and we all knew about it from master's class, and it was kind of touched on. And Crestron kind of took it, pretty far, and then said, all right, we need to enlist some help of some outside resources, just to have a sounding board, make sure that we're considering everything, make sure we're looking at everything we should. And so they reached out to 3 different companies that kind of kept it pretty close knit for a little while there, because they didn't want to cause themselves, I think, a lot of grief. So they reached out to a company in Belgium. They reached out to a company in the UK, and they reached out to a company in the United States, and the company in the United States was us. So our team has regular meetings with them, probably 1 or 2 a week, where we're discussing things like, the platform that they're looking at, or the methods that they're choosing, how to deal with a join number type of a thing. We're kind of helping guide some of that, or be a sounding board for them, and that's been a lot of fun. But it also, being that intimate with it, it's sort of difficult, because I want to tell you guys it's going to be amazing, it's going to be great, it's going to be beautiful, see the pretty pictures, and it's going to be awesome and easy, and that's not necessarily what I can say yet, but I know that we're getting there. So yeah, it's definitely come a long way already, but it's also, in our opinion, got a little ways to go too. So yeah, thanks Megan.
Yeah.
Do we have a couple questions?
It looks like it. Where on Labs can we find CH5?
So it's my understanding that the way that you have to go about that is you actually have to reach out to the moderator and request access to that portion on Labs. If you want, you can ping Joe or Eric even, and via email. They could probably answer that if it's different than what I said. It's a good question. Do we have any other ones?
Got a quiet group today.
That's all right. No, it's good. It's Friday. It's been a long week for me. I can tell you that for sure. As we've always said, we need your help. Share your testimonials. Your reviews are awesome. We've gotten a couple of great ones recently. Thank you. If you're one of the ones that did that on this webinar with us, man, really appreciate it. And then, of course, don't forget about our referral program. I don't know any other referral program out there that will give you $1,000 net in your pocket by bringing us an opportunity and us closing it. So that's a real useful thing. So having said that, I'm gonna break out of this.
You did skip over the new website's live. It's been live.
Oh yeah.
Here for 2 months now.
Yeah, a couple months.
Got a complete makeover. There's some great resources on there. And then we also have put our training videos. Joe recorded them, and they are on Adapt University on our YouTube channel, which can also be accessed from the website.
Thank you, Megan. That's awesome. In there, we've got some energy automation things, but I also wanted to share with you on Sonen's website, they've got an energy automation area where you can see the trainings and a lot of other information. Even my ugly mug is on that thing in a couple of videos. So there's also some information about the Adapt Energy Automation package and what we're doing, which we're going to actually touch on here in a second. But yes, thanks, Megan. That was great. Let's see. So having said that, let's go ahead and take a peek at the EA package. And this documentation, by the way, is going to come to you guys after the webinar. So you'll have access to all of this. In this thing, I actually go through, what energy automation is, how power protection now plays a role in this with respect to the Sonnen battery and its technology. We talk about use cases, what smart configurable backup is, what smart weather forecasting is, demand control and load management. These are all things that for you guys get to play a role in this and in determining what's on and what's off and when and how. And we can now even get into the monitoring of things. Now, I'm gonna tell a story. I've been monitoring the energy in my home since 2013. Not in this home, but in a previous home, and then I kind of moved it over to here. I wasn't really able to do much with it. It was a Crestron Fusion EM system, and pretty much the extent of what I got out of that was I could tell when we did laundry. I could tell when we took a shower in the old house from the hot water heater. It was electric. That was pretty much it. And so the point I'm making, or the reason why I even bring that up, is because of the fact that while it's nice to have a lot of information, if you can't do anything with it, what's the point, right? What's the point? So that's one of the exciting things about this whole energy automation thing that we're getting involved in, is that we now can actually take real information and we can do something with it. So I truly believe heavily and wholeheartedly, and I think you guys know me to be a pretty passionate guy. Well, I'm a real passionate guy about the energy automation side of things, because I believe this is where we're going. This is where we, as integrators, have to go. The requirement, we're the only ones that know all this stuff in terms of how to tie all these devices together and how to make them do things in the home. There's very few people out there that have the ability to do what we can do. And the missing link, in my opinion, was we didn't have information, number one, or if we did, we didn't have anything to do with it. And so now kind of connecting all these things, the solar and the battery storage and the home automation all wrapped up in one, we really get to do some great things with that. So it's pretty exciting to me. The package itself is it's only $7,000. It's going to come with an Adapt EA processor inside of it. There is a built-in UPS for all of the equipment, and I actually have a real picture of it. I'll show you here in a second. We'll kind of talk through some of these devices, but this UPS is important because the Sonnen battery is the true battery storage, right, for the home, but it has to, on a grid loss, it has to actually switch over to the inverter switches to, using the DC power of the internal batteries to then power the loads in the home rather than the grid. That happens in 100 milliseconds, which is super fast, but a traditional UPS is about a 2 to 4 millisecond switchover, and in some cases there's even always on solutions. But so point being that your microprocessors, your computers, these kind of things, they need to survive, if you will, this 100 millisecond switchover. And so we've actually got a UPS built into the enclosure specifically for that. We also chose to build in a network switch. This is important too. And again, I said this earlier, it's self-contained, so we've kind of got all the goodies that you need in here. And the reason why this network switch is important is we have to make sure that the Adapt Energy Automation package that's controlling breakers is definitely going to shut down breakers on a grid loss, because you in some cases are designing the system in such a way that there might be more load than the battery can truly handle, and that's okay as long as you're shutting down certain things to balance that load. And so putting a switch physically in the enclosure ensures that the Sonnen battery that's paying attention to the grid and kind of watching what's going on stays connected for sure to the Adapt Energy Automation package. If we were to rely on another network, another switch, maybe something that we're not even responsible for, that can get a little scary, because, well, if the power is out, there's a possibility the internet's out too, which sort of back to the Eaton breaker challenge. That was, another reason why going out to the cloud, coming back down, and all, it just wouldn't have worked out. Put a little thing in there for the size of the enclosure. It'll come with system requirements document. We'll look at that, a drawing, and the help file as well. When you buy the package, it comes with 4 hours of offsite support from us to kind of go through the commissioning and setup of things. that we'll actually look at here in a minute. And ground shipping for U.S. and surrounding areas kind of built in. So we've kind of packaged that all up in that way. So like I said earlier, we're going to control up to 16 breakers. Built into the package is smart weather forecasting and backup. So what this actually does, and you can read about this a little higher in this document, but it basically pays attention to the surrounding area for weather information. And when there's severe weather in the area, the system can then do things. The things that it does are in some part based on how you configure the Adapt Energy Automation package and the breaker controls, and then more importantly, how you guys take this severe weather flag, if you will, this event in notification, and do things with it. I don't know, I'll give you an example. Maybe like in my house, I'm in Texas, so severe weather in the area, I'm going to do 3 things. First thing I'm going to do is I'm lowering all my shades. That way, especially if it's during the summertime, that way I keep out the ambient heat. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-cool my home. So I'm actually, my normal temperature is like 75 degrees. I kind of like it right there. Well, I'm going to bring it down to 69. And I'm going to do that because that way, if I lose power, I'm not sucking my battery dry with my HVAC system, even though I can, because the HVAC system is battery backed up now and it has battery storage. So I'll do my shades. I'll do my, I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, you get it. And then the third thing is going to be the battery reserve. So it automatically, when we're in severe weather mode, it'll increase the battery reserve all the way up to 100%. That way we make sure that the battery is going to store as much power as quickly as possible. And so it's these types of things that are now just built into the EA package, as well as obviously the breaker control that we provide. There's a really easy web utility setup. We'll take a peek at here in a sec. The homeowner, they will have an iPhone or Android app on their phone. It is a Crestron app today, and we're actually using the free one, which is pretty cool. So when you buy the package, you can actually, even if you're not doing a home automation system, you can put this package in, and the customer has battery information and they have control of breakers, which is kind of neat. So as a standalone system now, it can do what we consider to be the basics of energy automation. Do you have something you wanted to add?
Would have been helpful if you live up north, I would say.
Oh, yeah, the Arctic, what do they call it? Arctic vortex?
Yeah.
That's insane. For any of you guys, if you're, look, I've lived in Alaska. I've been in 50 or negative 50 or 50 below. I get it. It's not fun. I hope you guys all survived that. I think it's moved on now. So,
in which case you would have definitely wanted to preheat your phone.
Oh yeah, yeah. So that's a good point, Megan. That I was talking about Texas, but up north, you're turning on snow melt systems. You're preheating. If it's a really bad storm, that kind of stuff, to just prepare for the potential of a power outage. So we talked about the switch, we talked about the UPS. Only things not included, obviously the Ecolinx battery. The relay control breakers themselves are not included. However, we've worked out a deal with Schneider, and we have access to those, and we can get those for you. And at a really reduced rate, which is pretty nice. Like if you go to their website and you look up the a single pole 15 amp breaker, it's like $285. We sell them for $60. So it's pretty nice.
Stocking.
What's that? And we're stocking those. In this document, this is more like for the solar contractors and electrical contractors that don't know much about home automation. I tried to give them an idea of what a home automation system plus an energy automation system kind of looks like from a cost standpoint. And then we have an FAQ in here. This is really great information for things like which breakers do I need, which load center or panel do I have to put these breakers in it? Do I need an Adapt Energy Automation package if I want to do smart weather forecasting? And so we answer all these questions in here. We have a question, couple questions?
Dean, are you seeing the document that is pulled up on the screen? Looks like we're not seeing PowerPoint, but he does not see the document either.
So they're not seeing PowerPoint. That's terrible.
Sorry, guys.
That is terrible. Wow.
Oh, there we go.
So do you
That
guys?
fixed it. You see it now?
Oh wow.
There it is.
Okay. Sorry about that. I guess I did not realize that you guys were. I hope you saw the PowerPoint.
You see it now. Were you able to see the PowerPoint previously? No.
Oh my goodness. You know, it's one of those days, guys. I'm sure you've all had them.
This is the best part. The picture of the package is
Yeah,
awesome.
you had to look at our faces only. So, and you're going to get this document. But hey, the good news is, even though you didn't see any of that, you had to look at us the whole time. What you're really going to want to see is this.
Thanks, Russ.
Yeah, whoever covered us on that. Thank you.
If you don't mind just seeing this.
So this is a drawing of the Adapt Energy Automation package and the types of things that you need to be concerned about from a system design standpoint. This comes with it. You guys will have this documentation. Basically, all you have to do is you install this package, you plug power into it, so you run a piece of Romex from the load center, you plug in, and I'll try and make this bigger for you guys. Let's go down here. There's that Ethernet switch that's built in. This is an internal connection to a DIN AP3. This would connect to the Sonnen battery, and this would connect to the customer's network. It's a real simple thing to install, and we made it that way on purpose. I want to show you guys an actual picture of the Adapt Energy Automation package, if I can. The GoToWebinar has been giving me a hassle lately, so hang on.
You guys have questions regarding the package, even though you were not able to see the document? And I also think a good point to touch on is what happens if you have more than 16 loads that you want to control.
Oh yeah, fair enough. So yeah, if you have more than 16, it's no big deal. We can do it. The software is going to be able to handle plenty. It's just a matter of putting in another package, and we don't have to put a processor in it. So here's a picture of an installed package. This one went in Colorado, actually in the snow. It was a fun install. So like I said earlier, you would run your power into here. This device is a very cool device, and it has a funny name. It's called a plug trap. I've never heard of that before in my life. What it basically is a super awesome surge protector, surge suppressor type thing. If this thing ever gets hit, what happens is this guy handles making sure that nothing happens down line. And the beauty is, I don't know if you can see it, but you can just pop this thing out, this little square thing, and replace it, and you're back up and running. Inside of here is a 24-volt power supply and the UPS for a battery, and this is all in one enclosure in a nice DIN rail enclosure. You see here we've got some relay controllers, we've got our DIN AP3, and then we've got two 8WS8s. The switch located right underneath here, and these wires, way bigger than they needed to be. The integrator that we did this for had pre-wired these, but you can typically get away with 22 gauge, and it can run up to 75 feet, and that's in the system requirements. But anyway, these are the wires that are actually going to the breakers themselves. So I'm going to stop there. Questions? Lots of questions, or just?
Lots of people saying they couldn't see our screen, but if you have questions, bring them on.
Okay.
I mean, this is brand new, hot off the press.
So let's take a peek now at the system requirements and talk a little bit about that. It is rated indoor, so it's NEMA 3. It's not NEMA 4. It's definitely an indoor rated thing. We've been asked to look at outdoor ratings for this, and we're not sure if we're going to be able to pull that off or not. Your network's just got to have 2 additional DHCP clients. That's just so that we can get the thing set up, because we're static really between the battery and the DIN AP3. Ethernet cabling, blah blah blah. You get that. Control breakers, PLILC breakers. This is important. And then 75-foot distance limitation between the energy automation package and the breakers themselves. And then we give you some, enclosure specifications, both on wall and in wall, and some quick power ratings, and even a little torque rating. So with that, I want to pull up. This will be a web-based utility setup. Now you can see my battery right now is offline. Like I said earlier, we have a lot going on over here, and there's solar happening and whatnot. So that's why that's offline. But I can at least show you some of the setup things. So basically, what you would do is once you get this package installed, you simply go to I think it's going to be something like myadaptea.com or something like that, and then you get into this. This would be your setup. This is not customer facing. This is going to be installer stuff. So if you go to setup, more than likely, if it's the first time setup, this is the first thing you're going to see. Okay, you're going to put your installer information in first. Next thing you're going to do is put the site information in. We're going to ask you to look up latitude and longitude. We are looking at a service that can just do it from the zip, but free services are things that are difficult to rely on, right? So we're right now giving you the ability to go to the free service here and get that information. Next thing, put in a name for the battery and the IP address. And then we go into breaker setup. So you click on one of those, you give it a name, you give it some information. And last but not least, you choose your power profile and you set it up. And once you're done with that, you can go test the breaker controls and make changes to the battery settings and so on and so forth. So this is just going to be a simple web-based utility that you guys can use to set up an energy automation package.
And if you had solar, which you are getting installed at the moment, that would show on the panel.
Oh yeah. So
the battery.
Good point. If you have solar, that information would be here, and normally you would be seeing the consumption values from the grid and the consumption values from the house and any production information there, and so on and so forth. So, any questions? Nope.
All right, today.
All right. That's okay, man. Today's a crazy day for us. I'm gonna go ahead and just real quickly blow through these just so that you can see them, since you missed them earlier. HTML5 stuff, nothing too crazy.
Q&A page. There we go.
It's rolling through. All right. So, guys, really that's all I had to share with you guys and talk about. I kind of went through it pretty quick because I get the impression that you probably have some questions about Adapt and where we're going with it and what we're doing, as well as HTML5 and the like. So I would love to field some of those with you guys right now. And we don't need to expose who's asking what or anything like that. We keep that to ourselves. But hit us with some stuff. Hit us with the hard things too. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy, because we're prepared to talk about a lot of that if you guys want to. guys are a quiet group, man.
Oh, here we go.
All right.
How do you separate the relay low voltage control from the high voltage at the breaker panel to stay within code?
Great question. So what we've learned is that because of the way the Schneider breaker is designed, and the fact that it requires 600 volt wire to it, and that's kind of in the spec, we actually don't have to, from a code standpoint, worry about that. In fact, you can actually run that alongside, from what we understand. It's the enclosure itself has been kind of checked over by multiple people, master electricians and the like. So we feel pretty confident and comfortable that we're in good shape. It has not gone through UL. That is something that we are looking to do. But as some of you may know, that's a process, and it's going to take a while, and it's going to cost some money. And so we're actively pursuing that, but it's going to be a bit. So great question. Love that.
What can we expect to see outside of CH5 and EA this year and ADAPT?
There's the question. So what we are doing, because again we're in a period, or we'll call it a season of change. Not us, but Crestron. You guys are starting to hear about the Series 4 processor, I would hope. You may know that they are showing a Series 4 processor at ISE. This is Linux based, and what it means is that we have to make a major transition of the ADAPT core to a totally different platform. Well, totally different is probably the wrong thing to say. To a different platform at some point. That coupled with HTML5 and the things that we're in the know about on that have given us a little cause for pause, and we're just kind of watching and waiting to see a few things so that we can make some decisions about what we're going to do moving forward. It does not mean we have stopped development of what we have on our roadmap completely. It just means that some of the big things, some of the things that we know are going to take quite a long time to do, we're probably going to have to shelf those for a bit and focus on some of the small things. And Joe is working on things like little improvements, refinements. I'm trying to think of one that might make some sense to everybody. I think there's some security things that people have asked about. If I remember correctly, in the last webinar, it was on our list to talk about some security, reordering of lists and kind of icons and stuff like that. I don't know that we're going to get that into the core, but I think that those are the types of things that we're going to kind of show a different way to do it and provide some examples for some people. So, but for right now, anything major, we're kind of tabling.
This one's a good question. Your energy automation package works independent of the automation system, meaning it will work with an automation system other than Crestron.
Absolutely, yes. In fact, it will connect to a Control4 system today. There are other automation systems out there that we're maybe going to do something with, but at this point it's Crestron and Control4 only. But we'll see how that works out. Elan and RTI, and I don't know if the S1 will do anything with or not, but we'll see.
All right. What is the smoothest way to roll in Alexa Control with the ADAPT modules?
Smoothest way is going to be done at the room module level. I have an extensive program for this house that I live in with a lot of Alexa kind of stuff, and I am happy to share what I did to control things in the home. There's a lot of lessons that I learned in going through the process. I actually programmed that for my house 3-4 different times, or 4 different ways. The first time I did it, I used I used my daughter and my son's names in the rooms. I didn't know any better, and it's a little weird to say, Alexa, turn on the Kylie's lights, because that's what they expect. Because if you say turn on Kylie lights, right, that's what you are supposed to say, but you want to say turn on Kylie's lights, but they want a V in front of it. It's a kind of weird thing. So point being, names of people, not good. Names of room, okay. So, kitchen, yeah, that's fine. So her room is the stable. She's big into horses. And Xander's room, my son's room, is the bunker, from playing video game army stuff. So
some Alexa feedback from some of our listeners. I just say Alexa.
Oh, sorry, guys. That's great. I actually unplugged mine in this office for that reason, because it happens to me all the time. That's so funny. I'm happy to share like my whole program, and you know what? That's probably a good thing. I'm going to put my code on the forum if I can. I'm going to talk to Eric and see if we can do that, and just kind of let everybody see how I did it. You'll notice something I had to do if you get access to this, that, and this is why we love Simple Windows. This is why we love Adapt, because we can actually solve these kind of challenges and problems. So I have a DGE 200 on the television in the family room. And it's cool because I can pop up volume, information over top of video and mute and, camera and all that stuff. Really nifty. Then I got the Amazon stuff done. And I walked into the family room and I said, Amazon, tell Crestron to set the volume to 35% in the family room. And boom, up popped my volume thing, and it said 34%. And I went, what? And so, of course, like we do, I ran into the office. I go right to debugger. I'm opening it up. I'm looking at it. There is a bit of a discrepancy between how the Amazon stuff looks at volume and how Crestron looks at volume. It's actually 0.001% off, which causes it not to display properly. And so I simply went in there and did an analog sum and, fixed the problem. That's a beautiful thing. That's what we love right there about Adapt. So I've got some great information for you about the Amazon integration that I've done. There's lots and lots of different ways to do it, but at the end of the day, you'll find the thing that works for you. And again, I'm happy to have conversation with any one of you guys individually if you want, or any one of the guys can talk to you about it. So great question. Love it.
Right, we got a question. Will it work with Josh? Are we referring to energy automation or
Adapt?
Yeah, or Adapt.
And I can answer both. So we actually early on, I talked to Alex over there. They weren't there yet. In fact, it was kind of a fun, engaging, because Alex is a great guy, meeting, and we all came away basically saying, well, when one of us gets an API done, we'll talk. And that's kind of where we ended up. And we haven't actually gotten back to them because there are some modules out there, and we want to treat the Adapt framework as exactly that, a framework, a foundation, if you will, that allows you guys to put anything in there that you want to. Unfortunately, one of the things we've learned, and fortunately as well, is that when we make things really easy, we also have to make compromises. We have to leave things out. We have to take things away. We have to refine it and make it be right here. That's the one thing that we don't want to do with Adapt, and for the programmers out there, because programmers need power, right? You guys need the ability to do whatever gets thrown at you, 0.001% kind of stuff, And so if we start going down the road of making a module for every little thing, A, we got to deal with a big database issue, and B, we're going to be taking things away. And then you guys are going to go, gee, can you give us some of this and expose that and whatever? So what we're trying to do is keep this foundation in play for you guys so that you guys can attach the other things. So directly to answer your question about Josh and energy automation, I like that idea. I think it's probably a good time to call Alex up again and talk to him. We are integrating the other guys, Google Home and Amazon right now. Well, I say right now. That's on the roadmap for us. What I envision that we're going to use that for is notifications. When there's a grid loss, maybe Google Home says a grid loss has been detected, or severe weather. It'll notify you. Severe weather is in your area, and then you can actually go to your touch screen, and when you go there, you'll have some selections that you can make for different power profile modes for load shedding and load shaping and preparation for power outage and those types of things. So great question. Other questions?
Other questions, guys? These were all really, really good questions.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right. Well. Oh, here we go.
+1 on a generic notifications adapt module.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so yes, that is something that we need to do. It's something that I've wanted personally for a long time. The challenges are centered around doing it right. What we really want to be able to do is true notifications. The best I think we could probably accomplish until we have our own app is text-based notifications. So I'll put it out there to the group. How would we feel about at least having text-based notifications that you guys can kind of shove into a module things that happen, and it just kind of automatically goes by putting in some parameter information in Simple or even in System Manager. Would we be down for that? I'm seeing
We got a heart. We got another +1.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I've got a yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this sort of goes along with what I was saying earlier about trying to table some of the development until some things get solidified. But they're doing the SMS-based thing is not too bad. So I'm going to actually get with the team, and the reason why I think it's worth looking at is we have to do this already for the Adapt Energy Automation side of things too, and so it's potentially something we could build into the Adapt core. So I'll talk to the team and we'll see if we can get that going, because like I said, I'd like to have it as well. I think it's something that we absolutely need, and most importantly because everybody else can. So we understand that. By the way, saw some marketing material and things, and I kind of touched on this earlier with respect to that with Crestron Home. I may want your help on this one, because to my knowledge, that's not possible. Maybe I don't know something, so maybe we can collectively seek out information in regards to that. I'd like to know more, but what I'm seeing and what I know is that it currently is not possible. So, other questions?
In regards to System Manager, organization of lists and runtime lists, filtering for security, lighting, shading would be great, just like Adapt already has for AV rooms. Right.
So this one definitely falls under that larger core update type thing. We've just got to wait. I know it's painful. I deal with it. We deal with it. Joe deals with it. Eric. I mean, we all deal with it, and we all want the same thing. But it doesn't make sense to do it until a few other things get taken care of in terms of the direction that we need to go. That's it's sort of a major thing to the core and not a minor thing. There's a little bit more involved in it. So I don't think we'll see that in the near future. It is definitely on our roadmap because it's been asked for. and I think multiple times. I've asked for it. Joe's asked. I mean, we want it, but it's going to be a little bit before we can do it. So sorry.
Do you have any more questions? I know, last Adapt Chat, we asked about GitHub.
Oh, yeah.
I'm wondering if we have a little bit of a different group. If we could get opinions on that.
Yeah, we'll put it out there. I mean, normally we do some poll questions and things like that, but we can just put it out there and see. I think last time most people said, yeah, that would be a good thing. We're looking at using GitHub as a repository for examples and things like that. That maybe a place that we can share things and whatnot. We're hoping to get to that before the end of the year. Holidays got in our way, and a few other things, a couple of projects that we're needing to get done, so we didn't get to it. So I'll put it out there. Does everybody still agree that GitHub is a good thing for us to do in terms of having a place to share example programs and such? I mean, can I get a few people to say yay?
Plus one on GitHub, yes.
Yeah. And these are, so yeah, and some people that haven't engaged on that one before. So yeah, it's something I think we need to do. Yeah. Yeah. Look, if you don't have a GitHub account or don't know much about it yet, I would decide now to, learn a little bit about it because it's not that challenging. It's not that hard, but understanding some of the process-based things, how to put things up there, how to grab things, how to version. If you want to make a change to something, maybe we put an example up there for how to do a 2N door station, and you guys see something that you think could be done a little better, and you version it and you put it back up, and it's a great way that we can maybe all share some examples and some things that we can be doing moving forward to help each other. So all right, I like that. Thanks, Megan. That was great. Okay, anything else that you want me to touch on, talk about, you want to understand more about? It's your last chance. We got about 8 minutes, but all right. Well, guys, we, as always, appreciate our Adapt dealers. We couldn't do this without you. We wouldn't be here without you. We are here for you. It's why we do what we do, and we're just ever thankful for the support and what our Adapt dealers do for us. So thanks for your time as well. We understand your time is valuable. And Megan, got any last things for us?
If you have a solar contractor or an electrical contractor that you're working with closely, and they're interested in energy automation, send them our way.
Yeah, or more importantly, even well, not importantly, but also if you're interested in doing the energy automation type thing, it's a good idea to start looking at who might be around you in your territory.
That brings up another good question. Do you guys have customers that you could see, energy automation being a good fit, or customers that are interested in storage?
Yeah, it's a little strange at first to think about. I remember when Blake Ricketta over at Sonnen called me the first time. It was almost 2 years ago now, and he called me up out of the blue. He got our name from somebody, and he said, "So Troy, I hear you guys are kind of the best of the best kind of thing, and I want to talk to you about writing software to communicate with our battery." And with all the other things we have going on, I just kind of it didn't make sense. I went, okay, all right, yeah, let's talk a little more. I didn't get it. It took 3 phone calls before I truly understood how we, Pantech Design, and more importantly, how you, the integrators out there, could leverage this technology for our industry. And I even had a guy come up to me at the launch party at CEDIA, and he taps me on the shoulder and he goes, Troy, this is amazing stuff, man. You guys are doing some really cutting edge stuff, but have you ever thought about the audiophiles out there? And I went, what? Like, again, you know, it didn't click at first, and then it hit me like a big brick, like boom, like, oh wow, yeah, because the audiophiles out there spend $150,000. I mean, they buy cables that are in the tens of thousands of dollars. It's insane. I wish I could afford to do that, but you know, the amplifiers and that, so they want this perfect clean power situation, and they are putting all these conditioners in and all this. Man, you could literally put in a Sonon Ecolinx battery for battery storage for the home, and you guys could provide an audiophile mode that allows the customer to hit a button and say, okay, now I'm off grid, I'm being powered by perfectly clean power from this amazing battery, and since it's a 20 kilowatt hour battery, or could be a 20, it could be a 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, or 20, whatever, but a big battery, it's going to last for a while. This guy's going to love it. It blew my mind. So there's things we haven't even touched on yet, but I think it's exciting. People are interested.
Genius.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Like, how cool. Yeah, and I really believe this is where things are going. And also, I'll add one last thing from a relevancy standpoint. You know, look, there's no secret out there, in my opinion, about what's happening, what's going on in our industry, to the programmers that do this for a living. There's no secret as to what's happening, guys. But I believe that this gives us that next level of opportunity, that next level of relevancy in our world. It opens the pool up tremendously. People aren't putting in home theaters as much anymore. People are putting in Sonos and wireless this and wireless that. People are expecting that you can just whip out your phone and control everything, super simple. And why does it cost so much to do this and that's and whatever? Because they've been inundated with this stuff. They've been given all the easy things. Do they work well? Are they, in most cases not, but people are fine spending 50% less and getting 80% of what they'd really like to have. You know, that's just a fundamental fact. So I believe that getting involved in this part of our industry, if you will, or a new industry, energy automation, is going to be the next thing. There's a story Blake at Sonon shared with me. He used to work at Lutron. He was their Radio Raw 2 guy. He kind of spearheaded that. And they went to CEDIA, I think it was 1994. It was 93 or 94. He went to CEDIA with Lutron for the first time. And there were people literally saying, you guys must be lost. Why are you here? It didn't make any sense that lighting should be at CEDIA. Look now. Look at what happened. This is the beginning of that. It may not seem to make sense, but it will. And I believe in it, and I believe it's something that you guys should really look into.
There's lots of initiatives going on out there for solar, for storage, depending on what state you're in, definitely something to look into. Yeah, there's even the state of Hawaii just did a really cool thing. You know, the federal government gives us 30% tax credit on solar. There also are some private letter rulings that came out in March that provide this same 30% tax credit for, you're going to love this, for battery storage, and this is the important thing for us, and software that manages the battery and the solar. Guess what this all is that we just talked about? The Adapt Energy Automation Package and the software that goes into it. And you guys can easily make a case for connecting the lighting system to the solar and the battery is a potential, tax credit savings for the homeowner. That's not going to last forever. That 30%, I think, is only this year. And then next year, I think it goes down to 22% or something like that.
But Hawaii, what they did was they said, yeah, so we want you to put battery storage in, and we're going to go ahead and supplement that federal government credit with another 35%.
NEM Plus?
Yeah, NEM Plus is what that's called, which is pretty exciting. So now the guys are going nuts in Hawaii right now, man. We have how many packages? We have 25 packages sold right now, and like 80 in the queue people that are saying, yeah, we're really interested. We've got this project or that project. It's getting big. So guys,
time to get in.
Now's the time. And speaking of time, it is that time. So guys, thank you so much for your time. We recognize the value of your time and we're thankful for it. Guys, have a great rest of your day and a wonderful weekend. And thanks for your support.
Thank you, guys.
Take it easy.